Okay, so the background is dry. Now, before I take off the frisket, what I want to do is kind of lay out where the shadows are going to be. So doing that, or to do that, I kind of figure out where my light source is coming from. I usually mess up on this. I can get confused sometimes, but I figure the light source is coming, from above, and I usually figure from the side here, so the shadows would be cast that direction. I use the same color that I used for the background water, and I'm just going to kind of shape the fish out here. Later on I'll go and soften that up a little bit. But right now it's pretty much just me trying to figure out where I want the shadows to be. And where you put the shadows will depend on if the fish looks like it's up higher or down lower. So that one, he's kind of close to the ground. This one, let's put him, he's up higher. So the shadow is going to be smaller and farther away. And it really should be lighter in color. This blue I have is got a lot of pigment to it. So it came on a little too strong. Now I will just continue to lay out the shadows, and I'll see you on the other side of the speeding up part. Okay, so I've laid down the bases for the shadows, and you'll see later how I'll go through and work on them a little bit more. I like to soften them up and get rid of the harsh lines that are there and such. And so some of these are still drying, but with the ones that are pretty much dry, I'm going to start lifting up the frisket. There's probably different ways that this can be done, but this is the way I do it. I think of like when you're taking off a Band-Aid, and so you're gonna, I pull, I don't know if you can see how I'm pulling on that, and dipping my hand in my, I keep dipping my arms in paint. But I'm gonna, and the reason why I do that is this stuff, if you don't take it off just right, then it will tear the paper, and then you can't paint on that. So it's always kind of a, you're gambling when you're using this masking fluid, because you don't know if you're going to ruin your paper or not. And then of course you don't know if it's gonna, make this tail looks all kinds of funky. But again, as they say, I will fix it in post. It's kind of like when you're lifting up liquid cement. Okay, let me just take a second to point out that I just learned something. So this is a little frisket ball that I just pulled off. I can use that to help pull off the next one. That is so cool. Let's see, this part that didn't quite come off, I can use that. Oh, look at that! That is so cool. I love learning new things. Ugh. That actually helps out a lot, doing it that way. Now, I'll look to see if there's anything I missed. Like any tails or fins that I missed. Don't look like it. Okay. Throw these away. So the next thing I do for me, I like to have my fish have some definition. The reason why I didn't put these definitions on here before is when peeling off the liquid masking fluid, it takes off any pencil marks that you would have there. So these pencil marks I'm putting on after. Okay, so here's what I do. I like to kind of define the fin lines there and where the gills here are, where the eyes are located. This helps me when I'm painting. This one I think will get a little bit of mouth there. And you can see why I'm so hungry. It is past lunchtime. This line is probably where the back fin will go. And this one, the tail is just totally messed up. But I can fix it. This one, the side got all messed up. But again, I'm not too worried. Okay, so all of them are sketched. And so on to the next step after a break.